What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's review we're going to be taking a look at the newly released Transformers Earthrise War for Cybertron trilogy, Cybertronian Villians Skywarp and Thundercracker 2-pack. This was a 2-pack that I was really eagerly awaiting its arrival, as I was never able to pick up that Siege version of Skywarp as it was just so elusive over here in the UK. But here we have the brand new Earthrise, Thundercracker and Skywarp, and I couldn't be any happier to complete this Seekers. You can see here that of course this is a 2-pack, so we have both of the figures clearly displayed within this window view box. We've got the Transformers Earthrise War for Cybertron trilogy logo there, the Cybertronian Villains. We can see here Skywarp and Thundercracker, and we do have a really awesome image of both of them there in their jet modes. Turning around to the back of the packaging, we have some really cool images of them both in their robot modes as well as their jet modes. The team is the Seeker Elite. We also have the Cybertronian Villains, and then the other side of the packaging has that amazing Transformers Earthrise piece of artwork. So with all that covered, let's see what awaits us inside. Before we take a look at the two figures themselves, I'm first of all going to show you the interior card. Now, I do believe that this does form part of the map. However, this never came with one of those clear, transparent red decoders. So unfortunately, I am unable to see what hidden message lies within the map, or whether or not there even is a message within this, but just giving you a better look of what to expect when you open this up. The packaging, this is the interior card, and of course we do get a set of really nice instructions, so Skywarp and Thundercracker, and they do detail the instructions, which is really nice for transforming them from robot mode into their awesome looking jet modes. And even on here they do actually state regarding this red decoder piece, so it is a shame that this doesn't in fact come with one. I'm not sure whether that's just my copy. Personally, I don't really care about this whole map thing whatsoever, so it's not a drawback for me. But for those of you who are wondering, for me, I never received one of these small little reveal decoders. And here we have the brand new Transformers Earthrise Voyager class Skywarp and Thundercracker 2-pack opened up, and as they come packaged in their robot modes. And I've got to say that this is an amazing set of repaints. Initially, I was never really a huge fan of the Earthrise Starscream mold. Don't get me wrong, I thought that it had some really good points, although there were just some major design flaws I found with it that really drawed that figure back for me in terms of how I rank him within the Earthrise toy line. And as these figures are basically just repaints, those problems are still evident within this mold, which is such a shame as they are very easy fixes. But setting those complaints off to the side, I think that they have done an absolute terrific job with this new paint scheme. Now, something which shocked me with both of these was the level of silver paint that these two figures actually have done to their torsos, as well as to these fin pieces above their heads. I was really surprised to actually see this much silver paint on these figures, as quite honestly I thought that they were just going to be bland grey plastic. It's great to see that they definitely look a lot more vibrant in person, and I'm all for having additional paint apps. We'll start firstly off with Thundercracker. So you can see here that this is exactly the same as the previous Earthrise Starscream mold, however this time has been decked out in Thundercracker's more traditional blue colour scheme. We of course have the red and white stripes for the fins, and then some silver and black highlights throughout. But just taking a look at him, I do believe that his head sculpt is exactly the same as Starscream's, and just bringing in that Starscream figure so that we can compare and contrast, you can see that they are exactly the same. There isn't no difference to these whatsoever. It's almost a frown, so you can see that the mouth goes down side to side on the Starscream figure, and then that also happens here for Thundercracker. It would have been nice to have had a different head sculpt for Thundercracker, seeing as Skywarp does in fact have a different one as well, but nevertheless it's still quite a nice looking sculpt. You can see that we've got some really nice red painted eyes in there, and that amazing silver paint here for the torso. I just think that it brings out so much of the detail that perhaps could have been missed upon first glance, and even on these fin sections in there it also brings out some nice details. We do of course have these null rays here which have been cast entirely out of a blue plastic, and here you've got the fins at the back which look super cool. And then as we turn down to the shins, we've got some nice black and darker grey highlights there for the knee sections, and then some lighter silver there for the feet. So definitely a super nice looking repaint. I really do like this rendition of Thundercracker. And then just turning it around to the back, we do of course have the nose cone kibble that was apparent on the original version. Now, something which I wish that they would have fixed on this version, which I think would have been really easy to fix, would have been the way that the entire torso transforms. I absolutely hate this clip and tab mechanism that this particular mold does utilize for transformation. I just think these tabs here are prone to breaking upon multiple transformations, which is such a shame, as I'm sure there could have been a different way. Even just a change to this molded section here could have definitely amplified and altered the way that this transformed, allowing for a much more enjoyable transformation. As it stands, I still do think that these sections here are going to break over time, and paint chipping is just inevitable with the way that this transforms. But setting that aside, I think that Thundercracker here is a really nice repaint, and just bringing in Starscream so that you can get a full body comparison between the two. You can definitely see that they are exactly the same mold, but I think that the colour variation more than makes them look different upon the shelf, and I think that they look fantastic as a unified team. So just setting Thundercracker off to the side for now, and we'll bring in by far the star of the show. Here we have Skywarp. This was definitely the one that I was most looking forward to out of this set, as I've stated in all of my other Earthrise and Siege reviews, I was never able to obtain that Skywarp from the Phantom Strike Squadron pack that we got for Siege last year. It was just so elusive here in the UK, and I believe even overseas it sold out almost everywhere. So it's great to finally have a Thundercracker for my Generations collection, and you can see here that they have remolded the head sculpt and given him an entirely new face sculpt, which I think looks fantastic. Definitely differentiates him from some of the other figures. You can see that it looks as almost he's yelling, or perhaps he's in pain. It definitely doesn't look as if though he's trying to be menacing. It just looks as if though perhaps he's whining or something along those lines. But you can see once again the tremendous silver paint here for the crutch plate, as well as these front sections on the torso, as well as these fins. And I absolutely love the black and purple motif that this figure is sporting. I just think that he looks truly remarkable. I mean, just check him out. He looks so cool with the Decepticon insignias done in the purple and white stripes, the purple fins down here. I just cannot wait to showcase these in their vehicle modes, as well as they look equally as amazing in their alt forms as they do in their robot modes. In terms of transformation, it is exactly the same as Starscream, so we do have a ball joint at the head, which actually has a great range of motion out of it as well. We do get hinge joints here for the arms. They can hinge out to the sides, full 360 rotation here at the bicep, and then a 90-degree bend here for the elbow. No wrist articulation, unfortunately, and similarly to the chest area that I spoke about with Thundercracker and here with Skywarp, this whole wrist section is something that I think that they could have changed in order to give us a rotation here at the wrist. It's something that they were able to do with the Earthrise double dealer, and it's a very similar mechanism here, so I really do think that they could have altered the sculpt here to have given us that wrist rotation. We don't have any waist articulation, which once again I do think could have been possible. They could have put the hinge joint here, but they decided not to. We do get this section here which can flap forwards and backwards. The legs can kick forwards that far, back that far, and can do the splits, full 360 rotation at the thigh, and then a 90-degree bend there at the knee. And then finally we get the amazing Transformers War for Cybertron ankle rocker pivot. So a really nice figure. I just wish that they could have perhaps done some different changes to the mold in order to amplify what is already a decent mold. Some of those additional changes could have pushed this from being a decent mold to a really good mold. So just giving you a comparison with all three of them. So there we've got Skywarp, and here we've got Thundercracker, and then of course we'll bring in Starscream, and you can see how they all look there with one another. I think that that looks absolutely fantastic, and it's so great to finally have a completed Seeker set on my shelf. As stated previously, it has been incredibly difficult for me to obtain the Siege version of Skywarp. I just think that these three look tremendous. So without further ado, we'll transform them. I will run through the transformation on one of them, and then the other one I will just skip. So we'll start off here with Thundercracker, and we'll get him all transformed up. So you just want to open up the arms. I will run through this very briefly, as I have already shown this in my Starscream review. And then just collapse that down and fold the wrist up, and then repeat the same process here for this side. So just collapse this down, fold this up, and then fold the wrist up. Take this whole nose cone here and push it over the top of the head, and it will snap in. And look, we have the rumoured cone heads. How cool is that? And then what we can do here is bring the ankle rocker joints out, bring this down, and then it will tab into a slot there. So just snap that into place, and then fold up the foot. Repeat the same process here for this side. So just snap that into place, and then what we can proceed to do here is begin to transform the horrendously designed torso. What I like to do is grab these pieces and try and pinch them so that I can bring this section out without putting any pressure on these tabs whatsoever. It's inevitable that paint chipping will probably occur, but it is definitely preventable from breaking. We can then take this section, rotate this around, and then lock this piece into place. Now what we can do is bring the arms in to the middle of the torso on both sides, and then repeat this section here, squeeze these in. It's a little harder to do once the arms are in there, but they should just snap into place. And you can see already, I have already chipped the paint just by doing that, which is such a shame. And then just open up these sections and compress the thighs into the shins. Lift up this flap here and collapse these pieces down. Tab these two pieces together, collapse that down, and then just push this into place. This actually does tab in a lot nicer on this version than it did on Starscream. Fold out these back fins, and then here just bring these down and push those tabs into place. Push this section into place, and then take the null rays, and they can store under any of the ports. However, the instructions do showcase you storing them in these ports. So that is the transformation for this brand new Earthrise Seeker mode. So I'll get Skywarp fully transformed up, and we can take a look at these Seekers in their jet modes. And here we have both Thundercracker and Skywarp fully transformed up into their jet modes, looking absolutely fantastic in their new color schemes. Now I'll very quickly run through the differences here in jet mode, as it's more or less exactly the same as what we got for robot mode. So you can see that the main body of Skywarp here has been cast in a black plastic, with some areas being actually painted black. I absolutely love the orange nose cone here with the black paint applications over the top, just to really break up the sculpt. You've got the purple null rays there on the wings, the Decepticon insignias on each of the wings, as well as the purple and white stripes, which look absolutely fantastic. I think that this mold does a great job in concealing the robot mode kibble. I've always thought that it did a really nice job. It would have perhaps been nice to have had some landing gear on this. However, as this is a Voyager, I do imagine that that was probably slightly out of the budget, but definitely a super nice looking jet mode. Very sleek in its design, especially with this black and purple color scheme. And then bringing in Thundercracker, of course, it's more or less the same, however in a different color scheme. So you can see we've got the blue stripes over the orange cockpit, the blue null rays, as well as the red and white stripe, the purple Decepticon insignia, as well as the fantastic, very vibrant looking blue, and the silver sections here for where these fin pieces are. And then these here are cast in a black plastic, with these here cast in a blue plastic. So definitely a super nice set of jets, and just giving you a comparison between these two. And then bringing in their commander Starscream, here we have all three of the Seekers fully transformed up for Earthrise in their vehicle modes, and I think that all of these look fantastic. I think I'll be able to show you a better comparison with them standing upright. And here we have all three of the Earthrise Seekers compared in their vehicle modes, all looking fantastic. I'm so happy to finally have a full set of Transformers Generation Seekers, as I have longed for getting a Skywarp in the collection. So that was my review on the Transformers Earthrise 2-pack Skywarp and Thundercracker. Personally, I actually really do like this new set of repaints. I, of course, was going to complete all of the Seekers this time around with Earthrise, after missing out on that incredibly elusive Skywarp for Siege. I think that these are definitely better in terms of their molds than the previous version. Just aesthetically, I do actually like the look of this mold a lot better than I do of the Siege mold. I just prefer some of the design elements of the Siege version over this version in terms of how it transforms, and some of the designs that they've taken with the articulation on that previous mold. But actually taking a look at overall aesthetic, which for me is the main thing when picking up a Transformer, I think that all three of these look absolutely fantastic together, especially with their different colour schemes. Skywarp looks absolutely beautiful, Thundercracker here looks magnificent as well, and I really do think that Starscream looks great with the team as well. If you are in the market for picking up the Seekers, then I highly recommend that you pick up these two, as who knows how long it will be before this set becomes incredibly difficult to find. As soon as this set went on order, I purchased one, as I was not taking no risks at all of losing out on my chance to complete the Generation Seekers. In terms of their moulding, I would have perhaps have liked it for Hasbro to have tweaked and refined some of their design choices that they'd originally done with the Starscream, particularly with the torso area and some elements to do with the transformation. However, they have chosen not to do that, which isn't a massive drawback. I was expecting that when I picked this set up. I do really like the fact that Skywarp does have a different head sculpt. It would have been nice if they could have given Thundercracker a different head sculpt, but unfortunately that wasn't the case here, and he does appear to have the exact same head sculpt that we got with Starscream. Nevertheless, I'm definitely glad that I picked these figures up, so definitely be sure to let me know down in the comment section below whether or not you enjoyed my review of the Transformers Earthrise 2-pack Thundercracker and Skywarp set, and whether or not you actually intend to pick these up and add them to your collection. I really hope that you enjoyed my review, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.